Welcome to the Monthly Heroscape Herald. In this series, we'll do monthly tournament reviews of the meta, the winner. We'll look at upcoming events and Heroscape news going on in the community, as well as finishing it off with our channel giveaway winners and how to enter the next giveaway. Let's go ahead and look at those tournament winners of last month. All right, it starts off here in Colorado with Caps winning a local tournament. It looks like we had a Bring 2, Strike 1, and some alternative win conditions, and he won it out with some VC units, the Varkans. They're really cool. They're unique squads that can bond with the other unique squads in a unique way. You just need to look at their cards, how they work. But basically, a lot of times you're getting 8 activations, 6 or 7 activations between the different ways they bond. So really cool build. They're a lot of fun. And then he had Talongul, another VC unit that can bond with some of the bigger constructs. So like Iron Golems, Boreas, Avernus, which those are all VC too. So looks like we had a lot of VC in that. And congrats to Caps for winning that. And let's go on to our next winner. We had Nomad winning with the 10th Regiment of Foot. He had Marcus and Valgard. What's interesting about this build, I thought, was with Marcus, soldiers get +1 movement, so his 10th had more movement, as well as attack. So if they surrounded around Marcus and you take those weight and fire shots, that's getting you an extra dice on top of it from Marcus. So little information about all these tournaments. Where I get the info, it is mostly from heroscape.org as well as the Battle Network. There was 37 tournaments in January that were recorded on heroscape.org, and there was 45 on Battle.net. Now, at least our locals, we sometimes post both, so there could be duplicates there. And then, there's some that only use the Battle Network because they just got into it and may not use. That's why you see a few more there. But that's where I'm pulling most of my data. So thanks to Chris Perkins for heroscape.org. Fantastic site. That's where I got pretty much all this information that we'll be going over and looking at. So shout out to him. I know he has a Patreon, so you can go to his website and support him that way too. Let's go on to a few more. And another note, just kind of on why I'm deciding certain tournaments over others. One, keeping it around 10 so we don't have too much to go through. 2, they need to usually have 9 or more players because then that goes to 4 rounds. So it's just a little bit more intense. That's kind of the numbers I'm looking for. Next, we have another 10th Regiment winning it out. Unseen Shadows, good win on there. The General Wars, this was a VT actually, so a Valkyrie trial, so he won a buy to Gen Con, really cool. And this was during SASCon, so in North Carolina, pretty cool. They had the VT there and he was able to win that, so shout out 10th Regiment. Yeah, they're just good. They got the range, they can have some melee defense and some melee attack, so they're very versatile, really cool. All right, the next one, let's see, Board Hero. I don't know who that is, but shout out to him for winning. Good job. This was a Swiss cheese event. And so what the Swiss cheese was is there were several units that were banned. The higher ones like Major Q9 and Nilfheim and just a lot of the really strong units were banned, and as well as some of the commons too. So just a whole bunch of different things were banned. So you had to kind of find what was best. And so Axegrinders were still available. So they really became the standout as best. And then because of that, you could have picked some of the other heroes that would have made the Axegrinders even stronger. Some of the other dwarves like Morgrim. But the reason I ended up not taking him, I took Raylin instead, about the same points. This were Maro, so I'd get +1 shields. And because of that +1 shield, that allowed me in the mirror matchup to have an advantage with that extra defense, because I assumed we'd probably see a lot more Axegrinders, and we did. And I ran to that exact build that I thought was pretty much the meta, but having the extra defense made mine beat that. So it was a fun game. I've only been playing for a couple of years now, so a lot of like the cheese armies I never got to play. So it's fun when I get a chance to kind of play some of those. So let's go on to the next winner. We have Garanex, if I said it right. Shout out to you. Good job winning out there in Lincoln, Nebraska. He won with Grok Riders, which they're a unit that's so standard, they're just crazy expensive, and so they're just not viable, and they don't have a ton of heroes to bond with, but in Delta they're pretty cheap, so it makes them viable in some. And it looks like this was a 4 mat, so there's 4 different kind of win things, so you have to be pretty versatile on how that worked. And so Grok Riders, he took it with Grok Riders, so Great job. Let's go ahead and move on. Then we had Core 777 0. Shout out to you for winning in this tournament. It looks like it was VC Delta Casualties of War. They're in Wisconsin, and it looks like mostly all VC. He had a bunch of common M43 Resistance fighters. Those are pretty cool. And then Sontir Van and Jarek Guy. So like these guys remind me of like Star Wars and Mandalorian. That's some really cool hero abilities, and makes for a fun game. Usually the Casualty Wars, I think each round you have to kind of have a different figure limit. So having something that's versatile in that is super important. You know, like a lot of times you see the Arrowgruts because they have a lot of versatile units you can put in there, but it looks like these guys worked well for winning that one. So great job. Now this one's real cool. This is was another SASCon event. This was the actual championship at SASCon. So shout out to Nico for winning that. I have a few notes on that event coming up. We'll look at those, but he won it out with Death Chasers and our Big Bear, Knight Primus Adelburn, and some Swag Riders. So that's awesome. You know, the Death Chaser and Primus Adelburn is a really strong build, and it continues to win. So that's awesome to see that, and good job for Nico winning that. Let's take a look at the last few. We have some Valkyrie trials that were contemporary only. One in Texas, 425 points of the lower point total and figure limit. So Queen Mao, super strong, almost always in the contemporary right now, with 1x acolytes, which makes Queen Mao even stronger because you get +1 basically attack and defense with that reroll. So very helpful. Great bows, great range, so it's very helpful there as well. And then the Exiles, another awesome contemporary unit. Probably part of his build here. He didn't have two great bows because I don't think the points fit, but the Exiles I think are 75 in contemporary, so it probably fit just perfect. Oh, cool build. Shout out to Leo the Animal 87. There we go. I got it. Leo the Animal 87. Great job at winning. Hopefully we'll see you at Gen Con. And then we had another Valkyrie trial. This one was a 500 point, 24 figure limit. I did one of these in Las Vegas. It was super cool, super fun, awesome game store. Great players there. And in that one, it seemed like the gallery dominated that event. We had so many gallery, you know, because it was 24 figure limit, and that was it. Gallery and BT Raylin is what took that championship, but there was a lot of gallery builds with either Krakens or Great Bow. So that seemed kind of like what the meta is for 24 figure limit. And this one wasn't won by that, which surprised me. It was Mal with no acolytes, which usually that's really good, and no Great Bows either. It had Scions and then the Phalanx and Legionnaires, which Oathbound are pretty dang good. They can be good in a lot of situations, but like, you know, looking at this build, it's not my first build that I would have thought. And it was so surprising that I had to go look through everything to kind of see how that tournament went, especially with the Scions in there. There's a pretty funny video that Sir Heroscape did about the Scions, and he did a like comment to battle, and he did a online battle against somebody that was talking about how the Scions are so good. And look, they won a tournament. So yeah, my first thought though was like, oh well, you know, maybe it's like a really small tournament, you know, and you know what was the rest of the meta? Let's go take a look at that. So I do have that here. So let's go take a look and see what this event was like. And so I went through and actually looked at every single army that was brought here. Now what's crazy is you come down and look, there were 42 people at this event. So this wasn't a small event. And then you look through the players, there's some good players here as well. So it wasn't, you know, like we got good players in this event. I went through and looked at everybody's armies as well, because you can kind of look at everybody's army going through here. And there was a lot of armies that were, you know, the meta builds. There was the Great Bows with Queen, there was the gallery builds, and I followed Just Ken's, you know, path, and he fought against everything, you know. So I'm so surprised that the Scions did it, you know. I mean, the Queen's probably the the biggest part of it, but Science probably bonded with her too, and I don't know what they did. I'd like to hear. So if Just Ken, or if Just Ken watches, I'd love to hear in the comments. How your games went, or maybe we can do a video sometime and jump on Discord and kind of chat about it and see how the Scions played into this meta, because that is very interesting to see that they were able to win against 42 players, and they went to a top cut too, so it went far, and I think Drakey Poo, he had the great bows and the queen build too for the finals, so be cool to see what that is. Anyways, that kind of rounds up our portion there on the winners, so congrats to all the winners of last month, and everybody else that wasn't on here either. They're great too. Lots of winners out there. These are just the few that I ended up picking. So let's go ahead and look at a past event, SASCon 2020. Super cool. I know it's pretty big, 30-40 people or so. Big event, and these cons, it's so hard to show you how awesome it is. It's one of those things like you just have to go to one, but truly all of these cons are just so much fun. Just all day scaping, the hanging out, the friends you make, it's just such a blast, and you play a lot of Heroscape. So here's kind of the event they had here. You got tables all over, games, looks like they got streaming over there. Just super cool, super fun, and it just doesn't really get better than a con. Like you got to try it out. Here's the group that all went. Oh, looks like you got a lot of great players too. Looks like they had a blast. There you go. Pizza night, I'm sure, one of the nights. Just some fun pictures I grabbed off of there. Prizes are so awesome at cons too. So this is Valkyrie trial prizes here, which is real cool. Some Lovey attack, unique glyphs. I love the art on that for sure. And then look, a bunch of awesome custom order marker. And then over here you got tons of cool other prizes, with custom order markers, sticker paint jobs. Look at that Major Q90s they painted up really cool, and so it's fun. You get these like unique custom things that you can get nowhere else. Pretty cool. Inbox prizes, cool organizers. Man, look at that guy with those flaming swords. Pretty dang cool. These big prizes, inboxes, organizers. These gladiatrons look pretty sick. But yeah, prizes are always really awesome at cons, and a lot of times you get really unique stuff. And again, there's Nico. Shout out to our winner of that championship event at SASCon. It looks like you got an awesome bathrobe with champion on it, SASCon, and a cool little trophy. I wonder who made that. Cool. So let's move on to upcoming events. And these are so much fun to attend, so you got to check them out. Let's see. We got Hexacon. That is going on right now. Literally while I record this, it looks like, yep, day one, 25th is 25th today. So they're playing right now probably, or at least getting ready to. So that's cool. And if you're in the area, you can go check that one out. And then the next big con we have coming up is Scape Summit. That one's in my backyard. I will be there. That one is a blast. We get an Airbnb so that everybody that does come out of state is on site. And then usually we have either get a big house with a big area and we just set up to play there, or some kind of area that makes sense, and we have an awesome play area and you're right there, which is really cool. And there's a kitchen so you can cook food, or you can go out because it's in a centralized place there in Salt Lake. So that's gonna be an awesome event. If you are thinking about going to an event and this could work for you, please come. We'd love to have you. There's a Discord for it. You could jump on there and get more information. Then we have another ScapeCon coming up. That event is so much fun. I did go last year. I had a blast. There was like 80 plus people there. Super fun and so much Heroscape. And this is the best of the best are there playing too, which is really cool. There's such good players there. I did okay. It wasn't like super good by any means. Definitely learned a ton. Had a blast though doing it, and I was able to win out on one of the events, so that was cool. So I was able to get some of those ScapeCon dice. But good time, good people, cool side events too. There's like an arena thing that was really fun. You could play while you're waiting to play games or in between and things like that. Food, super delicious. And then you're at the hotel, so it's nice. You're just right there. And then the other thing that was super fun was staying up late playing other random games with people. So good times, good times. Definitely recommend going. And I think this year there's like 120 or something. A lot of people. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then the next big event we have coming up is Gen Con. Gen Con is super fun. It's unique. It's different than a lot of the cons because, you know, these cons, you know, they're 3 to 5 days and it's Heroscape 24/7 pretty much. You know, you usually have 3 events every day. And so it's just nonstop Heroscape. And where Gen Con, at least the way it was the last 2 years, you know, you do have a lot of Heroscape, but it's probably not as long. You know, you'll have, usually there was 2 events, so 2 events each day, roughly, that you could play in. And so it's not as packed where you had like 3, which for some, that might be better. For some, you know, you might want more Heroscape. So we'll see how this year goes. I know we have a new tournament director, William. So that could change. You know, maybe he'll pack more in there. We'll see how it goes. I don't know, but I will be there. I want to go and try to, you know, win out of the World's Championship. That would be awesome. Be able to get a Heroscape figure, you know, kind of named after you, and it's a lot of fun. So I still enjoy it, and then just the con itself is very interesting because there's like 75,000 people there. There's so many other games there. There's other events. There's so much cool stuff to look at and buy. You know, it's definitely a place to nerd out for sure. So it's fun. I would recommend going if you've never been. And then we have one other con that I'm aware of in Northwoods, the Northwoods Con, and that's in October. So you can see all of these on heroscape.org. Gen Con, you just go to Gen Con website, whatever that is. So those are the upcoming events. So check them out. All right. Heroscape news. We got a little bit of news going on. One of the things is the store championships are coming up. So check out the Battle Network, check out your local game stores so you can see when there will be a Heroscape championship. And as far as I can tell, we'll be getting a Crimson Widow and a different art. So that's kind of cool. Kind of a like a springtime art, you know. So that's cool. And those are really fun. You can get a invite to day 2 for Gen Con if you win out on those. So that's kind of a cool thing. And then order markers and, you know, the alternative art for, you know, the top 8. So pretty cool. They're a lot of fun, and it's just fun to be able to support your local game stores. So find your game store that's doing a championship and go participate. A lot of fun. So I know there's a couple here in Utah I'll be going to. All right, now this is fun. So, spoilers. There's already been a ton of videos done on these. I know Sir Heroscape did a really good one, and Roguescaper did one. I watched all theirs. Probably some of the other YouTubers as well. Sorry if I don't know if you did one or not, but check those out if you want more in depth. I'm going to just hit a few notes on these, not go into everything, because other people have, and they're going to reveal probably what all this is in a few days, which I'll be doing a live of that. And so hopefully I'll see you there on Friday. Anyways, let's take a look at these. So a few things I want to point out. Looks like we're getting some new terrain. We don't know what it's going to do. In the Discord, you know, somebody said think agent. Don't know what that means, but you know, maybe we'll have an effect though. It'd be cool if there's some kind of effect, you know, either with movement or dice or, you know, some kind of effect would be cool. And then it looks like we have this obstacle here. I don't know if it'll have an effect. It'd be cool if it did some kind of bonus of some sort, positive or negative, or maybe it'll just be a line of sight blocker, which this looks like a pretty thick line of sight blocker, which would be cool. Because sometimes you get line of sight blockers, but they don't block enough, so you can't really hide behind it. But this looks pretty big, and you'd be able to hide a lot of figures behind it. So that's pretty cool. Let's look at just a few figures that I'm excited for that look really cool and interesting. So we have this Cthulhu Daddy, that's what everybody's been calling him. He just looks awesome. He's big, double space figure, 4 arms, all armored out, and you got this little goblin gunner on it. Like, that just looks awesome. Super cool. Excited to see what he can do. And then Sudema, that's awesome. We're getting, you know, Sudema 2.0, it looks like. Unless it's somebody else, but I'm assuming that's Sudema, just from what it looks like. So that'll be cool. Who knows what she's gonna do? You know, will be her abilities all the same? Will they be different? Who knows? But I think it's cool. Style and everything. I like the robes. Very detailed. All right, this guy. The thing that's really cool about this guy is that there is a link per se to the original Heroscape commercials or mini webisodes, whatever you want to call them, and that's this. He's right here. This guy, like, is that him? It might be. I don't know. It looks very similar. You know, you have the same armor style, kind of the same hairstyle, and kind of fishy person. So he may be that. And he looks kind of like a gallery type guy, but then he is wearing the Jandar colors of like I forget what they're called, Omnicrom snipers. So kind of like that. So he might be a Jandar guy. I don't know though. We'll find out. Especially I just like this. I like all the lore when you connect that. So that's kind of fun. And then these guys look super cool. The 3 bears, they're terrifying, you know, big old weapons. So who knows? They'll probably be a unique squad, I imagine, because this is a master set. You don't want to put a lot of commons in a master set because then you'd have to buy multiple master sets, and that'd be real bad. So I'm sure they're unique. We'll see if they like bond with anything. Who knows? That'd be cool, but we'll find out. They look really menacing though. I like them. They look like they're bigger than the Frostclaws though. So big beasts for sure. And lastly, what can I say? This looks like Isamu, and he looks dead. 2 cool things. 1, I love undead things, so that's great. Isamu's been known to be the best filler, so I wonder what his points will be. Who knows? He could be a really good filler, or maybe not. I don't know. But we do need a filler. We need a 10 point, 15 point type filler. Maybe 20 points even. We have a 25 point filler right now in Contemporary with the Deflector Crown. It'd be nice to have something that's a little bit lower on the points. Yeah, that might be him. It might be him. So pretty cool. Lots of cool looking guys I'm excited for. So I almost forgot. Look at this guy. If you're looking through the newsletter that you get from Renegade, this guy was in here at the very end. So check him out. So we will be finding out about this massive mech dragon guy, and he's got this little green dude piloting it. Well, I don't know. It looks super cool. Who knows what he's going to do? Hopefully he fits on the map. I'm sure he will. Make him fit. We don't want a Queen Maladrix with legs sticking out, or Zenisrax with her tails and wings and everything in the way. So hopefully it fits nicely. But it looks exciting. It looks cool. Super awesome. So I'm excited to see what that ends up being. Get into our last part. It is the channel giveaway. Let's see who won and how to enter the next giveaway. So our giveaway winner was Gruesome Mind. So congrats to him. I'm sending that out. He's actually he's across the pond over in Europe somewhere. So that's cool that we'll get somebody out there playing some Heroscape, and he's kind of new to it. So this was kind of the best thing for him because you get all the order markers, you get all the dice, you get terrain, so you can start really playing. So that's exciting. I think you mentioned that he's a teacher, and so he plays with kids after school for board games and stuff. So that'll be cool. He'll get a lot of new scapers into the community. So really cool. Congrats to him. Now let's see, how can you enter the next giveaway? The next channel giveaway will be a live event. We're going to be watching together the Renegade Con on Friday. If you want to enter that giveaway, you just got to be there, and we'll do giveaway during the Renegade Con. So go ahead and hit the notifications, subscribe, so that way you can make sure you don't miss that. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know if you like this idea of series. I want to do this every month, kind of for the channel giveaway. And also it's really cool to shout out some winners of tournaments, upcoming events, as well as any kind of news going on in the community. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Be the hero of game.